I was the first in the Global Lawyer Gold competition. I was famous, but I chose to give up all fame and fortune to become Ellie's full-time husband. She was known for having a doting husband. Our love was the envy of others. After cleaning the house, I was bored, so I started a pure chat live broadcast without showing my face. When people heard that I was a gold medal lawyer, the number of viewers in the live broadcast room exceeded 100,000. People gave me tips and said they wanted to hire me to handle their family affairs and trivial matters. The number one lady on the leaderboard even gave me 100,000 just to let me punish her evil husband. She listed one by one the facts of being oppressed by him, which made me cry. I couldn't help but be moved. I took the case. Please tell me your request. I want that person to leave the house. Is it that simple? I was stunned when I heard her voice. Isn't this the voice of my wife, Ellie? As expected, the person she was talking about should be me. After the live broadcast, Ellie also returned home. She looked refreshed, as if she had accomplished something big. Seeing the spotless floor, Ellie hugged me from behind and bit my ear gently. My husband is so great. She was as intimate as usual. If it weren't for the 100,000 balance in the account, I would have thought the live broadcast in the afternoon was just my imagination. Inexplicable emotions surged in my heart, and I suddenly pushed her away. The next second, Ellie pouted aggrievedly. Is there anything I did wrong? Can't I change it? Look, I bought you high-end cufflinks today. Looking at the jewelry box in her hand, my heart grew even colder. This was the welfare lucky bag I set up during the live broadcast in the afternoon. I won a prize in the draw. The gift is small, but the thought is great. They are all cheap things. The one in her hand was bought by me online for $10. I was in a daze. The gifts she gave me had always been cheap goods or things she bought casually. Yet when she gave them to me, she claimed they were luxury items from big brands. I never doubted her. I've been with her for 6 years, and I've only been wearing cheap goods for 6 years. But when I was a gold medal lawyer, I wore high-end clothes and never treated myself badly. Now I deeply doubt whether it was really right to give up my career. In the past 6 years, she never missed sending red envelopes on holidays, and they were always large. But each time, she left a note saying it wasn't a voluntary gift. She said it was just a joke. But she didn't know I was a gold medal lawyer, nor that no one knows the law better than I do. Transfers with such notes can be recovered after divorce. Seeing that I remained silent, Ellie was about to help me put on the cufflinks. I frowned, ready to refuse with disgust, but before I could react, her phone suddenly flashed. Seeing the notification, Ellie immediately let go and glanced at me guiltily, quickly opened a dual open app, and switched to her secondary WeChat account. A few days ago, I had accidentally seen her WeChat. The chat box was full of obscene messages. Brother, let's meet today on 5:20. Brother, I bought your favorite hollow panties. I had never seen this WeChat account before. At the time, Ellie panicked and said, "This is someone else's account. I borrowed it to log in." I don't know what she saw just now. Then her phone rang. After answering it, she apologized to me with an embarrassed look and kissed my forehead. Husband, there was a sudden problem with a work project. I have to go solve it. You don't have to wait for me tonight. After that, she hurried out. But I clearly saw that the phone screen showed the alarm clock interface. Ridiculous. She answered an alarm. I didn't see Ellie for several days, but her updates kept coming until my former colleagues messaged me. As a well-known husband-loving demon, they had naturally seen Ellie. Brian, I was at a bar party today. I think I saw your wife hugging left and right. Not sure if I was mistaken. He even sent me the specific location. My eyes froze slightly, and I took a taxi without saying a word. I followed directions to the box and walked to the door. Through the crack, I saw Ellie lying on Nathan, her body twisting constantly. The colorful lights and swaying wine glasses made everyone blush. After a guy peeked in, he asked in confusion, "Ellie, Nathan has been with you for so long. When will you divorce the one at home and give Nathan a proper title? As soon as he said that, Ellie looked disdainful and sneered. I've been ready for divorce for a long time. Every time I play with him, he just lies on the bed like a dead fish, no strength at all. How can he compare to my Nathan? As she spoke, Ellie touched Nathan. The women were puzzled. Ellie, people outside say you love your husband very much. Is the divorce real? Ellie said proudly, I created that image on purpose. I just don't want him to take half of my property. A crazy husband-loving demon. It's so funny someone actually believed it. The things he gave may pass them on to Nathan so he wouldn't look down on me. I was careful with holiday transfers. Same with the property certificate, I didn't put his name on it when we got married. After hearing all that, the men in the room admired her. Ellie, you're amazing. So far-sighted. Strangely, after hearing those words, I didn't feel sad at all. I pressed the recorder in my hand and turned to leave. After returning home, I sorted out a lot of information about the divorce lawsuit. The funny thing is that I hadn't appeared in court in 6 years. As soon as I returned, I filed my own divorce suit. While preparing the documents, Ellie sent me a message on the live streaming platform. Gold medal lawyer, have we sorted out the information? I can't wait, I want to wipe out the one who exploited me in one fell swoop. I sent a meme that said, everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. Then I sent her another document and asked her to take it to appeal. There was no information in this document that was favorable to her, however, relying on her trust in me, Ellie didn't even look at it and submitted it directly to the court. The lawyer had already submitted it, it can be seen that Ellie was very happy. She directly sent me a big red envelope through the platform. Unlike the previous times, the note this time was that it was a voluntary gift. I didn't hesitate and accepted it directly. 100,000 may be more than the gifts Ellie gave me in the past 6 years combined. After seeing that I accepted it, Ellie flattered me with a sentence, gold medal lawyer, I believe in you, my happy future depends on you. Perhaps she was completely sure. Ellie finally returned home after a month, the difference was that this time she didn't even pretend at all. She fearlessly brought a man with her. Seeing my cold reaction, she frowned. Do you mind if you don't want to say something? I asked her, puzzled, should I say something? Hearing what I said, Ellie was stunned, but I didn't take her seriously, instead, she bullied me directly. It seemed that Nathan had come here countless times. He walked directly to my master bedroom and acted coquettishly to Ellie, saying, I recognize this bed and I want to sleep here. Perhaps we hadn't completely fallen out yet, Ellie even explained to me that, this is my secretary. This bed is softer. She is young and has a soft body. She can't sleep on a hard bed. Just give it to her. I didn't refuse, after all, maybe this is the last time they will live here. If I give it to her once, they can wait until night. It was difficult for Ellie to explain to me again. Nathan was most afraid of thunder, the weather forecast said that there would be lightning and thunder later. I have to sleep with him tonight. I shrugged my shoulders to show that it didn't matter. But Ellie looked at me suspiciously, why are you not jealous? Husband, this is not your character. Then she suddenly thought of something and said in a trance, retreat to advance, and prayed that I would keep the depth of love. After realizing something, she touched my head with pity, but, husband, some things that cannot be forced must always be dispersed. After that, she turned and walked into the master bedroom door. Before closing it, I also heard the conversation between Ellie and Nathan. I had just given him a heads up. If he's smart, he should be able to understand what I mean. I hope that when we get divorced, he won't love me too much and keep pestering me. Hearing these words, I sneered coldly. There was no so-called lightning and thunder that night, but I still suffered. The sound insulation here is not very good, the guest room where I slept was right next to the master bedroom. The bed next to me was shaking, and the wanton screams reached me. I didn't sleep well the whole night. When I woke up the next day, I had dark circles under my eyes and was misunderstood by Nathan. He looked at me pitifully. If you steal someone's love, this is what you will end up like, so you have to learn a lesson. Of course, no one can live without anyone else. If you are alone at that time, you should also think more open-mindedly. Ellie was particularly attentive today and cooked a large table of breakfast. This was the first time I saw her cooking in 6 years. The difference for me was that she prepared a pair of serving chopsticks. She was a little embarrassed when she saw the look in my eyes. Nathan has misophobia. Not long after she said that, she picked up a piece of rice noodle roll with the chopsticks she had just eaten and fed it to Nathan. Nathan was surprised. Ellie, I didn't expect you to still remember that I like to eat shrimp rice noodle rolls. The table is full of my favorites. Ellie's face was full of smiles after hearing this, but I didn't have much appetite. The table was full of things that Nathan liked, but I hated them. After breakfast, Ellie hesitated for a moment and finally handed the express delivery in her hand to me. She spoke carefully. This is the legal document for the divorce lawsuit. I signed for it for you. This is my active appeal of our deep love and shallow fate. This is the end of our relationship. You don't have to force anything and beg me. She said a lot, just because she was afraid that I would rely on her. But I replied lightly, oh. When she heard what I said, her voice stopped abruptly, and then she sighed deeply. Don't pretend to be strong. You can make any requests. And Nathan on the side also spoke, Brian, do you need me to find a better lawyer for you? Although he is not as good as the gold medal lawyer that Ellie hired with a lot of money, he can still make your loss less ugly. No need. I will win this lawsuit. I threw down my chopsticks and turned away. But Ellie stopped pretending and laughed behind me. That lawyer is the best in the industry and has won the Global Lawyer Gold Award. No matter who you ask to save the situation, he will never win. Why are you being so stubborn? In the next few days, although Ellie and I lived under the same roof, we didn't talk to each other. Until the day of the divorce lawsuit, I got up early, took out my dusty lawyer's uniform and put it on. When Ellie saw it, she said disdainfully, it looks like that. This is the only way you can comfort yourself. Nathan also went to listen. Before the court session, Ellie looked at me and there was no one around. She muttered, you are so overconfident. You actually don't want to find a lawyer. But I raised my eyebrows, where is your lawyer? Ellie raised her head proudly and said, I'm on the way. But more than 10 minutes passed, and even the judge was urging her, but Ellie's lawyer hadn't arrived yet. She finally panicked and sent a lot of messages to the so-called gold medal lawyer on the live broadcast platform, but all of them fell into the sea. No one replied. 1 minute before the court session, she finally couldn't help but call her lawyer, but the next second, my cell phone rang. After Ellie realized something, she looked at me in horror. I happily slid the answer button and waved my phone in front of her. I was the defendant in this lawsuit and the only lawyer in this lawsuit. Suddenly, Ellie stood up, her whole body was trembling, her face was pale, and her fingers were trembling as she pointed at me. Brian, you are kidding me? I raised my eyebrows. I'm not kidding you. Didn't you say that I should appear in court? Am I not here as promised? As soon as the words fell, Ellie rushed towards me in anger with a ferocious face. But at this time, the gavel in the judge's hand hit heavily. Silence. The divorce lawsuit officially opened. This serious sound called back Ellie's reason, and Nathan on the side looked at me hatefully. At this time, Ellie realized something and immediately found out the litigation materials between them. Looking at every word on it, her eyes were scarlet, and she looked like she was about to collapse. Everything in it was in my favor. She couldn't help but shout at me again, Brian, you are a person who pretends to be pitiful, as if I am indifferent. Judge, this is how the plaintiff treats me. She beats and scolds me at will. Under her domestic violence, I am a little dazed. I am collecting evidence in court, and I am also happy that Ellie has given me more evidence. Nathan, on the side, hurriedly called Ellie, Ellie, don't be angered by this man. He did this on purpose. Calm down and don't let him lead you by the nose anymore. Nathan pulled Ellie back to her senses at the critical moment. Ellie finally calmed down. She seemed calm on the surface, but her trembling body and restless fingers betrayed her. The judge called for silence again. Now the parties state their claims and reasons. The plaintiff claims first and presents evidence first. Ellie did not have any lawyer to assist her, she knew nothing. Her lips were pale without a trace of blood, and she spoke haltingly, because he cheated on me and does not love me at all. He only knows how to eat and sleep. He can't even clean the house. He is not willing to have children with me. Her sentences were not well organized. I wanted to laugh when I heard what she said. It's been 6 years. I've been doing housework for 6 years, getting up early and working late, and no one is as capable as me. And what has she done? She just eats the food I cook and complains that it's not to her taste. She also sleeps with me and thinks I'm like a dead fish. The judge frowned when listening to these illogical words, but he still keenly picked out the key words, but there is evidence of the plaintiff's infidelity. Speaking of evidence, Ellie was obviously excited. She quickly took out her mobile phone and sent all the transfer records in it. She said with certainty that she gave me so much money every holiday and a large amount of food expenses every month. But after so many years, he should have saved at least 100,000 or 200,000. But there is not a penny in his card. Someone presented Ellie's evidence to the judge. There were many large transfers listed in it, but they all had notes that they were not voluntary gifts. Ellie saw the unspeakable expression on the judge's face and thought that the judge could understand her. Her fear just now had subsided, and she looked confident that she had won. The money was gone. He used it to support his mistress. What else can I do? Her voice became louder and louder. So I have only one request: return all the money I transferred to him to me, and he can't get a penny of my property. The judge nodded seriously to indicate that he understood, and then turned to me. It was the defendant's turn to present evidence. Unlike Ellie's flustered expression, I took out all my hard evidence in an orderly manner and then smiled calmly. My request is to dismiss all the plaintiff's claims and require the plaintiff to compensate me for the material and spiritual damages I have suffered in the past 6 years. As for the division of property after the divorce, the principle of protecting the rights of the party without fault should be adopted, and most of the property should be divided among me. Before I could finish, Ellie went berserk. What are you talking about? I worked hard to earn this money, and you still want to take my property? What have you done? You just eat for free at home? The judge could no longer hold back his cold eyes and looked directly at Ellie. If the plaintiff disrupts the order of the court again, she will be convicted of the crime of disturbing the order. As soon as she finished speaking, Ellie stopped talking, and I criticized the fact that she transferred money to me without any surprise. Judge, this is my shopping receipt for the past 6 years. It proves that I used all the money she gave me to buy daily necessities for our husband and wife, as well as the money I spent on buying expensive luxury goods for the plaintiff on holidays and anniversaries. That's right. Over the years, I used all the living expenses she transferred to me to buy vegetables, either abalone or sea cucumber, which were specially used to nourish her body. And on holidays, I didn't hesitate to buy her luxury products. After saying that, I pointed at the dress on Ellie. The tie and shoes, even the socks inside, were all bought by me personally. They were very expensive. Seeing me pointing, Ellie was silent for a rare time, her face turned pale and blue for a while. All the money she gave me over the years was used on her in the end. What's funny is that she thinks I took her money, so the gifts she bought for me were cheap goods. When I was a top lawyer, I was never soft-hearted and never fussy. But after marrying her, I became worldly. Even when I bought vegetables at the vegetable market, I would lift a stool and sit down to argue with the vendors if they charged me an extra dime. It's all because I became so fussy. I have a good habit of keeping accounts for many years. I have kept receipts for everything from ice cream worth $1 to ties and clothes worth tens of thousands for Ellie. The judge pushed his glasses and the light from the lenses flashed. The evidence is true, but are there other grounds to support the lawsuit? Ellie stared at me intently, pretending to be calm, and raised her head proudly. Her eyes seemed to say, "So, that's all." But I met her eyes impartially, smiled slightly, and then took out the recorder in full view of everyone. The moment she saw it, Ellie's eyes widened and she subconsciously shouted, "What is this?" But I didn't reply to Ellie, and respectfully told the judge that this was factual evidence of the plaintiff's infidelity. After the judge got it, he played the recorder on the spot. I had been ready for a divorce. Every time I played with him, he lay on the bed like a dead fish, without any strength. How can this compare to Nathan? People outside say that you love your husband very much. Is the divorce real or fake? I set up those things outside just because I didn't want him to take half of my property. A doting husband so funny, there are actually people who believe her. Everything she gave him was what Nathan disliked. She was also cautious when transferring money during the holidays. The same thing happened with the house property certificate. Fortunately, I didn't write his name on it when I married him. Words without disguising echoed in the empty courtroom. Ellie's face turned paler with every word she said. At the end, she rushed out of the plaintiff's seat and tried to snatch the recorder, shouting, "It's not like that at all. It's all made up by this man. I never said this." The court staff stopped her in time, and the judge's eyes froze. The court will make a ruling on the authenticity of the evidence. This court is dedicated to the people and will not wrongly accuse any good person, and naturally will not let any bad person go. I will use the power in my hands to punish every person who breaks the law. After that, the judge made the final decision and adjourned the court for 30 minutes. The court still had to investigate and collect evidence to confirm the authenticity of the evidence. At the same time, it also had to make final considerations for the final judgment. After the adjournment, I calmly drank a sip of water. I have fought countless divorce cases before, and each one was even more difficult than this one, but I can win 90% of the time. This time, all the favorable factors are in my favor. It's as easy as drinking water for me. On the other side, Ellie was so panicked that she tried all kinds of methods. She quickly called several lawyers to save the situation. "Come over now. The court will start in 30 minutes. The lawyer on the other side was stunned for a moment, and then slowly asked, "Who is the other party's lawyer?" After learning my name, the person on the other end of the phone hurriedly evaded the question, "Are you crazy?" I didn't know the details of this divorce lawsuit before. I only knew that I had to go to court in 30 minutes. The other party's lawyer is not an ordinary person. He is the famous Brian. He is a godlike existence in the legal profession. No one can save the situation. On the other end of the phone, Ellie couldn't help but curse in a low voice, "Why are you so cowardly?" She continued to cheer, "Brian is really that amazing. Didn't you say that you were in the top 50 of the lawyer gold competition?" The lawyer on the phone hurriedly interrupted her, "Yes, I am 50th, but he is first. You may not have heard of his reputation, but the cases he has fought are all models for our legal profession. Even my mentor doesn't dare to be completely sure. I definitely can't take this case. I'm not afraid of losing, the key is that I'm not worthy." At this point, Ellie hung up the phone angrily. She glared at me and asked, "What are you looking at? Are you complacent?" I looked puzzled because I didn't even look at her just now. Ellie began to seek help from other lawyers but was rejected without exception. They all had the same reaction. In the end, she walked towards me helplessly with a livid face. She was full of resentment towards me the moment before, but in the blink of an eye, she became extremely gentle. "Brian, let's talk, okay?" She tried to soften me. "Please call me Lawyer Brian." I responded coldly and looked at my watch. "If you have anything to say, say it quickly. The court will be in session soon." Ellie realized that time was really running out, and hurriedly begged me, her hand still tightly holding my arm, "Brian, why don't we reconcile on our own? After all, we have been together for 6 years. We don't want to embarrass each other too much. What do you think?" At this time, she explained the reasons in a passionate voice, but I knew that her eyes were full of greed and calculation. I motioned for her to continue. She then told me her purpose. The property was originally her marital property. She hoped that I would not fight with her. Of course, she also said that she would compensate me. She didn't have to ask me to pay back the money and red envelopes she had transferred to me before. I couldn't help laughing. Her original intention was that I should return the transferred money and red envelopes to her. Now, she was so generous to let me keep the money because the outcome was unclear. It was simply a joke. I wanted to mediate, so I asked. She nodded vigorously, but I laughed heartily. Don't even think about it. After the lawsuit is won, I will get much more than this. Do you really take me as a fool? The fake smile on Ellie's face disappeared. She was furious and sneered with a red face. Brian, you really don't know what's good for you. When the court opened, Ellie was panic-stricken and fidgeted in her seat. Before the judge announced the verdict, she even hurriedly requested, "Judge, as long as you rule in my favor, I am willing to give a lot of money." Judge Ning calmly reminded her that bribery is illegal. Ellie fell silent instantly. In the end, the judge announced the final result of the divorce lawsuit. According to the principle of the rights of the innocent party, Brian should get 2/3 of the premarital property. Ellie was proven guilty of cheating and finally got 1/3 of the assets. I nodded gently to the judge. The 6-year marriage ended in this unquestionable victory. I walked out of the court. Ellie behind me collapsed, lying on the ground and crying. Nathan saw this and pulled her up with heartache, saying, "Don't be like this, I feel bad. Even if we have no money, we can still make money together." Ellie pushed him away fiercely, saying, "It's all because of you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be so unlucky. How can you make money? Which of the clothes you have worn over the years didn't cost me money?" Nathan was thrown away and fell to the ground and was injured. Hearing Ellie's words, his face was full of disbelief. "What are you talking about? Don't pretend not to understand. Do you think wearing gold and silver means you have it? You're just a drinking companion." Nathan was stunned and recognized Ellie's true face. I looked at the scene next to me and felt emotional. I was also kept in the dark. It seemed that I suddenly realized. I waved to the side of the road to stop a taxi and prepared to leave. At this moment, Ellie rushed over to stop me and returned the money to me. She screamed, and I looked at her helplessly. The judge had already clearly divided the property. "I didn't owe you anything, and the money transferred to you should also be counted in." She continued to insist, and I responded with a smile, "This was your voluntary gift, so there was nothing to pay back. If you have any objections, you are welcome to sue again." After that, I closed the taxi door coolly, leaving her with a long tailpipe. A few days later, I received the money and divorce certificate awarded by the court. The home I had lived in for 6 years finally belonged to me. I changed the locks, and Ellie could no longer come in. I took off my apron and put on my lawyer's clothes. I was respected and called a lawyer. Helping others and fighting for their rights became the goal of my life. I kicked the scumbag hard and took away most of the premarital property and the custody of the child. When I heard the parties bowing to me repeatedly and apologizing with gratitude, my heart was warmed. I was very busy running lawsuits and contacting parties during this period, but it was very fulfilling. However, not everything was so smooth. For example, Ellie actually put down her pride and contacted me. She sent me a lot of messages. When I saw the word husband, my hand holding the phone trembled. "I miss you. It was me who was bewitched at the beginning. That's why I was deceived by a second-rate person like Nathan, and thus ignored you who is so outstanding in front of me. I was really wrong. Can you come back? There's no need to guess. I know what she is thinking." I slowly replied to her, "Marry me or my money." The person on the other end of the phone quickly denied it. "Of course it's you, Brian, I really love you." I sneered, "Forget it, Ellie, you pretend not to be disgusted. I want to vomit." Hearing my ruthless sarcasm, Ellie was also slightly impatient. "Brian, who else can want you except me?" I shouted coldly, "Don't bother with that. I have both money and wealth, so how can I worry about not being able to find someone? Just like you said, I can use your wallet to support a lot of people." Ellie on the other end of the phone seemed to be vomiting blood. You looked like you were having a heart attack. But I didn't want to deal with her anymore. I still have a lot of work to do as a lawyer. I restrained all my emotions and said coldly, then hung up the phone. Again, if you have any objections, find me in court. I'll be there for you anytime. Apart from that, don't bother me anymore. There is no relationship between you and me anymore. After I hung up the phone, I blocked her and told her not to disturb me. The second before the call was hung up, Ellie on the other end gnashed her teeth and said, "Brian, you forced me to do this." I didn't feel anything when I heard these words. After all, I criticized those people so badly in court that there was nothing left. They lost everything and almost beat me up in court. She even shouted that she would give me a good beating after she said it so that I would learn to be low-key. But what happened? I didn't even see a single person after I came out of the court. After I hung up the phone, I immersed myself in organizing my work again. But a few days later, I received a message on my phone. It was from someone who had recently consulted me about a divorce lawsuit online. A few days ago, I had a general understanding of her demands and the main conflicts in her marriage that triggered the divorce. Now she just sent me a message to ask me to meet her in a coffee shop and give me some evidence of her other party's extramarital affair. As a lawyer, I have only one principle for all these years, which is to only take over the innocent and disadvantaged party. My former mentor said that I was kind-hearted and that the most frightening thing about being a lawyer is being sentimental and soft-hearted. It's easy to fall into trouble this way, but despite his warning, I still do things that are worthy of my conscience and others as always. I was deeply shocked when I heard the details of domestic violence described by the person involved online, and I was eager to help her. So after learning the news, I quickly packed my things and went there immediately. But as soon as I opened the door, I saw Nathan. I frowned and asked, "What are you doing here?" His tone was not good. I couldn't smile at someone who had hurt me before. But Nathan looked very flustered and quickly held my hand. "I'm here to help you." I raised my eyebrows and listened to him continue. "The person who consulted you about divorce litigation online recently was actually Ellie. She asked you out tonight to lie to you. The purpose was to knock you out, take nude photos of you, and threaten you to hand over her property." I was in turmoil, but I didn't show it on the outside. I just asked him puzzledly why he wanted to help me. After hearing what I said, Nathan's anxious expression immediately turned fierce because Ellie dared to abandon me, obviously gave her so much love. Before he could finish, I interrupted him. "You think she is wrong, but you are not wrong. You thought you were in true love, but you, as a lover, interfered with other people's marriages. If the person who cheated on her was not me, but an ordinary person, if she was a woman, she might commit suicide, which would be 1,000 times worse than what you are experiencing now." After he finished speaking, Nathan felt ashamed. "I'm sorry, it's my fault, it's all my fault. If you want me to do something to make up for my mistakes, I will accept it, but I only ask you to let Ellie, this scumbag, get the punishment she deserves." My eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't need to say that I would also punish Ellie and make her regret meeting me for the rest of her life. "Okay, go, I have to keep an appointment too." After saying that, I picked up my bag and was about to leave, but Nathan looked at my back with a confused face. "Didn't I tell you already? Why do you still want to keep the appointment? Aren't you afraid?" Hearing his words, I turned my head and smiled confidently. "Don't worry, I have my own way." I arrived at the coffee shop as scheduled, but before I entered, when I was about to open the door, suddenly a strange man rushed out with a rag in his hand and covered my mouth and nose directly. There was a sleeping pill on it. The next second, I fainted. When I woke up again, I found myself in a strange and dark room. I was tied up with hemp ropes. I tried to untie them, but it was useless after struggling. At this time, Ellie came out of the bathroom, wrapped in a bath towel. Seeing that I woke up, she was quite proud. "Brian, don't struggle, you can't untie them. I told you to be so arrogant, and now you have finally fallen into my hands. I will let you know later that no matter how capable you are still tied up by me, and you can't beg for mercy from me." After this day, you will have to submit to me. I calmly surveyed the surrounding environment. 5 cameras were shooting in all directions. There were also some sex toys around. I warned Ellie with a cold face that if she really did this, she would really regret it. But Ellie didn't listen at all. Instead, she laughed loudly several times. Ha ha ha, don't be stubborn, I will never regret it. After that, she could not wait to come forward and press me on her body, her hands moving restlessly, but just when her hands were about to touch me, the door of the room was directly pushed open. The next second, all the camera lights shone on Ellie's astonished face. The light and camera captured everything about her. After reacting, Ellie quickly tidied her clothes. Her angry eyes seemed to be able to spit fire in the next second. She stared at me. Brian, you set up a trap to harm me. Facing her panic, I slowly stood up from the bed and straightened my undamaged clothes. If you didn't want to harm me, I wouldn't have had the chance to find an opportunity to do it. At this time, all the photographers rushed up and took several close-ups of Ellie's helpless and furious look. As a lawyer, my network of interpersonal relationships is still quite wide, mainly due to the fact that I have used the law to help many people trapped in the rain. But now, they are voluntarily helping me find the room number and specific address of Ellie. They also helped me contact many well-known reporters to record this moment. MS. Ellie lost more than half of her wealth in a day some time ago. Now she is luring young boys to have sex with her. If she doesn't get a letter of forgiveness, she is about to face the prison book. If you are about to go in and operate the sewing machine, how do you feel now? After the reporter's reminder, Ellie was no longer angry and knelt down in front of me. I still admire Ellie for her flexibility. Brian, I was really wrong. I was tempted by mistake. I have regretted it now. Can you forgive me? I really don't want to go to jail. If I go in, my life will be over. After that, she slapped herself in the face desperately. The corner of her mouth was bleeding, but it didn't stop. But I was not moved at all. I looked down at her and said coldly, I forgive you. Then who will compensate me for my injustice? I have wasted 6 years of my life. I must make Ellie pay a price. That day, Ellie was directly arrested by the police. Afterwards, reporters reported the incident extensively. The popularity continued to rise. After an investigation by someone with a caring heart, Ellie's previous living habits were not good. She used her power to bully several boys. Under public prosecution, people's hearts were in favor. In the end, Ellie was arrested for kidnapping, sentenced to 10 years for rape and other crimes. Even after going through this incident, I still believe that there is true love in the world. I use my warmth to take up the weapon of law to protect the vulnerable groups. The end.